Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 3 between Faceless and Power Gaming. A lot on stake here. You're watching the Sea Summit 6 qualifiers, and this is for the winner bracket finals. Winner gets to move on to the grand finals and wait for their opponent. We'll see which of these teams will move on. Faceless, even though they took game 1 in a pretty crazy comeback fashion, Hades, we kind of remind ourselves that they lost both of their early games, right? Game 1 and 2 Power Gaming, we just won the early game. It's just that game 1, Faceless was able to outplay them and make the comeback, but you can't always count on outplaying your opponent.
Yes, that's true. And this time, I hope Faceless will adapt a different draft, a different approach to the way they pick their heroes, because Power Gaming, really credit to MTR and his team for figuring out how to play against Faceless. Like, they've been denying them so many of their standard picks, and it feels a bit, or rather the team feels like they're a bit uncomfortable, because when they don't get when the things don't go their way, it's really hard for them. But you have to give them credit though for still trying, committing to these fights, even though it seems like they're gonna lose it, but they still go for it anyways, and that's something you don't usually see. So Faceless, maybe for first pick, you might, instead of picking the Timbersaw so early for Ice as Ice, they could maybe pick up Black's hero first.
Sure. With that said, though, even if Faceless don't pick up the Timbersaw early, I'm pretty sure Power Gaming will still have the hero on the back of their mind and continue to draft in a way where there's abilities to counter it. This time, DDZ's OD will not be in the game as it is being taken out. Oh, we're going to switch gear a little bit. Black's hero, you say? Well, right there we go. Drow Ranger, first pick. Power Gaming, obviously, have seen this one before. We now know how to deal with it. We're going to see the Warlock again, though, so they felt that whatever the case was, Warlock was not the reason why they lost.
Faceless are a team that really like to, they specialize in having the early advantage. So if Power Gaming are winning them in that aspect, they're gonna say, okay, let's just kick things up a notch. Like you said, Drow, Warlock, they could go back for the Crystal Maiden pick, but maybe you might even see something different from Jabs. Or if he does decide to go for the Invoker again, that would mean, they might even pick for Ice as a more traditional offlaner, like Faceless Void or Tidehunter, some of the old school ones.
I don't know if Tide or Void is going to actually have the ability to stay in the lane against Drow. In fact, I'm not even sure, especially now that the Warlock is probably in the lane as well. Yeah, he's going to go for Darkseer.
For the side of Faceless.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. No, sorry, I was thinking about on the side of the Radiant, and now they're going to go for the Darkseer. Yeah, I don't think Darkseer could lane well against Drow. Drow is going to just kill the Iron Shot creep. I think Darkseer is going to start in the jungle.
He will, at least until he gets his Soul Ring, maybe level 3, and then he can just go back into lane. But banning out the Sven, Faceless could consider banning out PA as well, since that's one of the heroes. You combine it with Darkseer, you can pretty much contest the Drow. Sure. Especially early on, like you want to run into her face, disable that marksmanship. But Faceless for now, you might want to secure it. You might want to give Jabs a bit more of an advantage this time, because Power Gaming going up against DDC, he has been a beast, regardless of game 1, like they lost that game. But Power Gaming, you can never count out DDZ for how much impact he always brings in.
We do see the Storm being taken out, a fairly common partner to the Drow Ranger, at least in the laning phase. There's a lot of heroes that could easily get up to Drow's face. Sven is the hero that you mentioned, combining well with the Darkseer, but there are heroes such as the Phantom Assassin. We've seen some teams even going for things like Spectre. And of course, if you don't want to think of a safe lane core that could get up to the face, you could still go for, like, let's say a Timbersaw of your own. Even more of the mobile combination, let's say a Quap plus a Lifestealer. So this Drow lineup does have a lot of holes in it. Let's see if Power Gaming could find a couple of nice picks for themselves. But Faceless, on to the 4th ban. Okay, they're going to take out Juggernaut, which definitely could get up to Drow's face, especially with the purchase of a Blink Dagger.
It's one of the Lance heroes as well, which he's very comfortable on. Other heroes for Power Gaming side, which you could try against the Drow, maybe drag things out, get a bit of deep push. We might even see a Tinker come out, and Faceless may consider banning that, but we are entering the second phase of picks soon. Darkseer alone isn't able to contest the Drow lane, so that's really hard. But what they want is a hero who can at least have some sort of initiation, or in a mech carrier. And for Faceless, it's still too early to tell, but Power Gaming if they don't ban Tinker, well, they ban out Storm, so that definitely could indicate that Tinker is coming their way.
No, I think they just ban out the Storm because Drow Storm is a very common combo, and it's really annoying to lane against the Storm that has that much of a damage boost. But yeah, it could be Tinker, like you said. Do you know if DDZ plays TA?
He does, but they rarely put that out.
Oh, okay. Because I feel like TA is also a very good hero against the likes of a Drow Ranger. Get up close, you have traps or visions, and honestly, you've outfarmed a Drow very early on if you're able to get those stacks going for yourself. But if you say that they don't pick it much, then never mind.
They don't pick it much, but it's also a very situational pick because TA, you can try to. Usually, you want to burst down heroes, but against the Drow lineup, like that's really hard when they start to 5-man, and when you've got great sustain from the Warlock as well. Faceless could even decide to go back for Witch Doctor in that case. So we combine it with Warlock, great sustain, and you got great team fight. Death Ward after the chaotic offering, but Ice Slaughter. Okay, this definitely means it's going to be a dual lane coming up on Faceless.
Yeah, Warlock most likely going to stick with the Drow Ranger. And you give, let's say, XY another kind of frontline tanky hero. Ogre's no longer here. Kunkka's being banned out, but there are still heroes like Elder Titan that's still available that you could kind of throw it into the off lane with the Slaughter. But for now, we need heroes from Lance. We need heroes from DDZ. And we also need, I believe, JYC's hero as well.
Let's see, with the Ogre.
Another hero that does quite well, especially with Ironshaw on him, is Slark. We get up to Drow's face. The only downside of Slark in this game is that Slithering Crush, as well as the Warlock ult, will still be able to hit you through your Shadow Dance.
Silencer again.
Okay. I wonder if they actually see Silencer as a quote-unquote counter or a hero that they want on their side against Warlock. But
yeah, it's probably as like a retreat mechanism as well, because when Faceless are running to your face, you want some form of disengage, at least until you're in a more comfortable position where you have terrain advantage. And at the same time, just pointing out, both these teams haven't picked or banned Riki or Bounty Hunter, because these teams, they're one of the few C teams which actually don't like those heroes, I think.
Yeah.
They actually prefer they emphasize really, really strong laning. That's what they want. That's what they want, especially for Team Faceless, which is why I think we haven't actually seen a situation where ISISI starts out in the offlane alone, like completely alone.
You're absolutely right. The other hero I haven't seen at all is Oracle, which, against other lineups, other teams, you generally see it, first or second phase span. But for now, going back to the fourth pick here for Faceless, looking for a support that could kind of aid Slaughter a little bit in the safe lane, in the off lane, and also obviously looking for Jabs this hero. A hero that I'm keeping in the back of my mind is Puck for Faceless, because Drow Puck is definitely something that you see quite a bit as well. Although Puck is quite squishy, especially against the likes of Global Silence. So we shall see what Jabs will end up playing. But Venge is going to be the fourth pick. A lot of defense now for that Drow Ranger. And of course, a lot of the aura stacking, and they will get that Roche even faster than the last game.
They will. Wave of Terror, Amplify, and towers will fall very easily. Physical damage output is just ridiculous coming up from Faceless right now. But this also means it's somewhat. Almost feels like a death ball, because powers still have room to draft around this. Like, you get some deep push, but they want to counter fight that. Like, you pick a lifestealer so that you can also run into the Drow. But Slaughter, I don't think a lifestealer is a good pick, because even with Rage, all that physical damage output is going to kill you.
I don't think he's looking to Rage and tank the team. I think he's looking to Rage and kill them. I think Lifestealer is actually fine here for a couple of reasons. For one, I think Slaughter and Vengeful Spirit has very pronounced animations in the lane. So Lifestealer could actually walk and run them down. So I actually expect XY as well as Slaughter to have a very tough time in the lane. Second, Lifestealer gives you a very good avenue to go in.
Ember.
And it looks like Ember is going to be the friend to take him in. You jump inside the Ember, you jump right on top of the Drow Ranger. And I don't think Drow could actually stand there and take the hits. A good Warlock ult would need to be there. A good Vengeful swap would need to be there to kind of disengage. But you know, of course, you have global to cover that too. So Power Gaming has a very pronounced strategy in mind. Let's see if they are able to execute it.
So you're looking to DDZ to pretty much dominate his lane and at least, you know, Remnant with the Lifestealer. At least it looks like the combo. Or you can always have Darkseer Surge, the Lifestealer with the Ion Shell, and the Global Silence so that you can't swap out the draw. Looks like a good game plan for Power Gaming, but execution-wise, it's going to be tough. So there we go. Tinker pick up for Faceless, and it almost feels like they were baiting out the pick, actually. Jabs
Well,
Tinker.
who's baiting who?
Like Power Gaming trying to bait out the Tinker pick. It seems like they anticipated that. Because now, I also worry about the Ember's itemization, how do it play around this? Because it's either like you want to fight, or do you want to go into that super farm greedy Ember Spirit where you want to, you know, split push a bit into the bots first. But sometimes we do see that drums built from the Ember do come on in a bit, or even a blink, so that you can synergize with the Lifestealer and the Darkseer. It's pretty good. Sometimes you see it, but it's very rare.
I mean, even if DDZ goes into the BOT, like you mentioned, you definitely can still fight for the item. Like, you know, you fight, and then you go farm, and then you kind of rotate, rinse, and repeat. But yeah, I do kind of wonder if we're going to see more fighting-oriented build, like a drums early, and then go back into the battlefield, skipping the BOT. We shall see. Also, going to wonder how good is the Power Gaming's catch. Because one thing that I feels like Faceless has really defaulted back on when their game plan isn't working is split pushing. You have one of the best split pushers in the game in the form of a Tinker. And honestly, Power Gaming doesn't have that good of a catch. They have Ember, and that's it. So I think this final pick makes a lot of sense. It's good. We'll see if it's going to work out.
So execution-wise, are you favoring Power a bit more? I mean, regarding the draft.
I think so. I think Lifestealer is going to have a very easy lane against the Slaughter. Would not even surprise me too much if Slaughter abandons the lane and just goes to the jungle, but Ice generally does not do that. So, Darkseer, however, will go to his lane, I think, after level 3 or 4, like you mentioned. And then the mid lane, it comes down to the rotations of the supports, right? On one side, you have supports that could actually rotate, like the Ogre Magi. And the other side, you have Warlock and Vengeful Spirit that are not exactly the best roamers. So I think by a slight amount, Power Gaming has the better draft, at least for the laning stage. And as we saw in the first 2 games, the laning stage for these 2 teams determines so much. So I think it's Power Gaming favored.
The Tinker pick though, like he can easily jump or rather nuke down certain heroes. And if you're not worried about that, you have to worry about the overwhelming physical damage output on the side of Faceless. And with their strong lanes, if things go well for them into earlier tier 1s, they can secure Roche very fast, especially since they're on the dire side. Like Power Gaming choosing the Radiant, or they're being on the Radiant, it's not easy to contest. So this game, DDC and MTR need to step up. And that's where you're going to see like that synergy with Lance and the Ion Shell, that they have to make that count, especially onto, you know, killing off the Venge or the Drow.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Tinker is really the X factor. As both supports breaks each other's smoke, trying to ping out each other, look at their items, they will see that both players have wards on them. And that'll be it. Mosen showing that he does have boots as well. Meow Nuts able to drop a ward right in front of the enemy tower. And Ice starting off with fairly similar items as he did in the past. Windlace, Mango, Tangles.
You can kind of run someone down, and if the Venge does decide to help you, that's pretty okay. Or XY could just decide to babysit the Tinker, get him some stacks. Then later on, Ice just needs to lay out his amplified damage, so you're not so reliant on the Blink Dagger. So sometimes that's what separates a good Slaughter player, of one who's not so reliant on getting the Blink. Because there are times like, even in a competitive scene where they are forced to go for a Force Staff instead of the Blink. This could be one of those games, and I think Force Staffs are very important on Faceless, so Hurricane Pike Rush for Drow Ranger incoming.
Tinker drops the sentry, maybe waiting to get it later. No, he's going to just eat it now. That's 100 gold for him. Meanwhile, DZZ's going to grab the rune for himself. Tinker grabbing the rune on top. Hopefully Jabs has a better early game, because his team really needs it. Again, it seems like Faceless drafting a team that's looking to just farm. I mean, it kind of worked out in game 1. Again, just to remind viewers, Faceless lost the early game but was able to make a comeback. Game 2, they lost the early game and just got rolled over. Hopefully for game 3, they don't lose the early game. XY is going to start the game off by not helping bottom, which is something that we don't see that often.
Yeah, and remember that's why I said that I hope that XY or at least Faceless, they'll run the strategy to helping Jabs out a bit, because DDC is really outplaying Jabs and you can see he needs the advantage. The good thing about the Venge pick as well, he can double stack for Jabs very easily.
Woo. Look at that damage output here. DDC
Laser.
really being forced back. He's going to have to pop that salve, but probably will do it after last hitting. Meanwhile, though, the trade-off is that Ice is going to have somewhat of a tough time here. Silencer is not exactly an easy hero to lane against. I remember this one pub game that I was playing Silencer, zoning out Slaughter. I kept him at level 1 for 6 minutes in the game. Now, granted, it's not Ice I'm playing against, but just having the ability to glaive and Slaughter really can't do too much about it means you're going to take a ton of trouble. If your creep equilibrium stays well, it looks like Lance is going to have the advantageous creep equilibrium.
They tried to go Mozen very low. They almost bring Jabs, but I think he's just gonna salve up. And this is where all the action is gonna boil onto the middle lane, because both teams quickly identify that okay, this is where the action is gonna be at. Top lane, Darkseer actually not going to the jungle. He's gonna get a soaring in just a bit. He wants to stay in lane, forcing Nuts there. So he's trying to limit the. He's trying to make sure that Nuts doesn't go to the middle lane to help. So this is just a really good observation.
JYZ XY rotates in and JYC gets stunned. Easy first blood. So whatever zoning that he did is now negated and nullified. And now, well, Ice finds himself a very good early game. I'm still surprised that Darkseer is up top. You said that he's keeping Nuts around. Yes, but honestly, like, Warlock rotating mid, he's not going to come in with a magic missile or anything. So it's just like a low percentage chance to kill. And even though the Darkseer is here, he's not preventing Nuts from pulling or anything. I honestly think that the Darkseer gets a little bit more out of the jungle. But, you know. Looks like he is going to just run back now to grab a little bit of mana from the base.
Because by the Darkseer just being in the lane, you want to make sure you're keeping Nuts on his toes. Because otherwise, you know, it just gives room for Nuts to leave. But also, then again, being a Warlock, you want to get a bit of laning XP. So, you know, pulling here and there. And now he's just going to go back, maybe TP in later, or he could just go back to the jungle to finish off the soaring. Ice could just die bottom lane here. Lance pops the rage going on him. They need a bit more. Yep, the last word. Goodbye, Ice. -2. So, Ice getting a bit dumber to JYC.
Yeah, actually, -2 on Slaughter is pretty big deal. Like, the mana pool on that hero is pretty bad.
Very bad.
Is likely go into a 4-staff somewhere down the line anyways, but until then, a lot less crush to work with, that kind of stuff.
I've actually like experimented with maybe an Aquila or Echo Saber onto a Slaughter. That could solve it, but it's too greedy because it takes too. It just stalls your Blink Dagger timing, and your Jabs is still holding those skill points. Doesn't want to get points into March or missiles just yet. He wants to see the situation. It's very common among Tinker players.
Oh, Nuts on the top lane, taking a ton of damage here. Can they actually get off that Fire Blast? Mozen coming in fast. And that Iron Shell creep still following, but it looks like that will be it. No Fire Blast, because Mozen's level 1, so kind of night and day compared to his first 2 games, where he was able to walk around the map and get a ton of things done. So far, not really doing too much of anything. And critically, not getting that level 2 is pretty big deal. I think definitely missing out on that kill because of it.
Tough game. XY, yeah, they're just playing this very passive movement right now. He actually sacrificed the stacks so that he could contest the rune, even though DDZ wasn't going there, just making sure that Jabs is perfectly safe.
We're going to see a little bit of rotation here from Mozen. DDZ sees Flame Guards running out, and there's Jabs double damage, so I really don't think this rotation will work out. He is checking out stacks, kind of keeping an eye out. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't have an Observer Ward. Normally you see support rotations to drop a ward like that, and then you later on when Tinker's farming that stack, you gank him. But no cigar.
And he scouted out the stacks already, so Mozen, they can actually even try to make a play around the moment where Jabs tries to go for stacks, and this is very risky as a Tinker. So This is why sometimes you don't see teams play the Tinker, because it's very, very greedy, and at the same time, it really makes your movements very predictable.
Yeah, XY comes
So,
around and
yep.
Mosin has to give up his position. Well, I think at least for the mid lane, Faceless is very okay with kind of how the game is going to go. Because you can see Jabs is really leading the CS compared to the Earth Spirit, or Ember Spirit, excuse me. Over by at least 15. And that laser has been quite effective in terms of making him missing last hits and whatnot.
Yeah, Tinker has the clear edge here. He's double the last hits. And looking for Black to hit that level 6 so that they can start for maybe a tower push. Nuts getting good levels. The Ogre's been running around, still level 1 at almost 6 minutes in. It's a tough game for him. And Slaughter's going to get actually quite a lot out of this lane. Like, he leaves the Mango at base. He's going to get level 6. Bit of a rune fight maybe, Mosin.
Okay, Mosin's going to try to grab this, but being a level 1 Ogre, still very tanky.
Oh,
he takes the regen. Will get laser down, a couple more right clicks, and that one not missing up the hill. Meanwhile, Ember Spirit trying to come around. If Ember was there, they might have actually at least saved the Ogre. But instead the Ogre goes down. By the way, this is a combination that we haven't really mentioned. Ooh, smoke. They're going to come around. Well, we talked about ganking that Tinker when he's doing the stack. He's disappeared. Venge shows mid, so this is the timing. Iron Shell plus Flame Guard is the lawnmower. And let's see if DDZ could find himself some grass to mow for search forward, but they're a little bit too late. And this is the downside of not dropping the war. You don't see when that stack is there. He's going to clean up a couple of creeps, but that was a lot of rotation mid. 2 people teleporting mid, a smoke was used. They let Venge free far mid, and they get nothing out of the deal.
Yep, and Jabs getting very, very close to that boost of travel. He's still in good timing. He's 1500 gold away. Lance bottom lane gonna build towards an outlet. We haven't talked about this bottom lane actually for a while. Like between Lance and Slaughter, Lance is winning, but Ice is still getting a lot. Like this lane very soon he's gonna be able to start rotating around. You can see he has the smoke.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna gank, or he's not gonna wait for the blink to gank. He's gonna maybe grab Venge, smoke up, and just look for a quick kill.
No, I think they will go for Roche instead because the Amplified Drowse in that area has the Morbid Mask.
Okay, maybe not here as XY is going to find himself MTR, but suddenly Power Gaming shows up a couple of heroes here. DDZ taking a ton of damage under the tower, but he shall be fine because Drown Ranger's not nearby. In fact, he's going forward. Not sure about that. He will jump out. There's nobody cutting him off, and instead of Slaughter grabbing some farm on the bottom, kind of just TP up to the top and dies. Meanwhile, Lance will continue to build his net worth on the bottom.
Black has to be careful though, like even with Gust, Lance can still kill him. Alright, so a bit of lag, but yeah, I think the original plan, you can look at the Slaughter, he was edging towards the Drow, like they wanted to go for a smoke. Drow was just gonna clear that Ancient, those Thunder Hides, and then they could have actually sneaked Roche as well, which probably would have seemed like a better trade, but tried to go for kills, didn't really work out. Unfortunate, but they all picked themselves up. Mosin, he's just gonna bash X5, the club can't do anything. But yeah, this roaming DDC Ember Spirit with the Iron Shell he's doing quite okay actually. 0-0-1, but he'll pick himself up. It's gonna be a very slow scaling to the mid game for this Ember though. Yeah,
I like the fact that he's actually rotating around, because honestly he wasn't getting too much in the lane. Mostly thanks to Tinker's laning ability. It looks like we do have Ice grouping up with the Venge. Is it gonna be that Roche steal or Roche sneak that you mentioned? Looks like it. They can pop the smoke into the Roshan pit, they go, but I think somebody already pinged it out. I think Lance pinged it, and it's like, hey man, everyone's disappearing. They're saying they're either doing the stack or they're doing Roche, and he is not too far off. Roche is going to be dropping fairly fast. The question is, do they trust their gut instinct? Are they actually going to go in and check?
They get the Warlock there as well, Chaotic Offering available. He is level 6, so it's pretty close. Did he actually buy a Tome of Knowledge for that? I think he did. Oh no, he didn't. Alright, so, yep, easy Roche going the way of Faceless. Nice sneak.
Well, Faceless will take the Aegis. Black will get it. And it was too late.
Alright, so 2-2. You want to play around Jab's BOT timing as well. He's going to get it very soon. He's just like one more creep away. Alright, next creep, yeah. And Mask of Madness on Black. So this is that glass cannon. He's gonna be very mobile, kind of thing. This, you know, we used to see a lot of Drow, Mask of Madness, but not anymore. So,
Huh, that's
alright.
super interesting because normally when you pick Drow these days, he's more of a tower sieger, right? You get the Dragonlance, you get power turrets, and you just go. I think he's looking to play more fighting with this team. Obviously, the Mask of Madness also improves your farm more so than a Dragonlance would. So, definitely a very different playstyle to the standard way of playing Drow. The curious thing though is that normally when you go for more of a fighting oriented build, you want to max Frost Arrow and put a couple more points into Gust, sacrificing your aura a little bit. You do see players such as Febby on the side of mvp.phoenix do just that, but he still goes for the aura max build. So his skill build and his item build, there's a little bit of a disconnect, but we'll see if it works out here.
Like sometimes, like when you talk about the Febby example, that's because when they draft a lot of melee heroes around, and that's where you want to. They actually play the Drow thing a bit differently. You get more points into the Frost Arrows because you realize the aura doesn't really benefit like a core. Supports that right click, you don't really want them for that.
Sure.
Worth it, and that's why you get more points into the Frost Arrows. And hold on, DDZ, Infest, Lifesteal inside them. They could try for something here, but they have the Chaotic Offering. Jumping Nuts first. Global Silence is going to come out. Nuts now well on the run. Open wounds. Can they kill Nuts? They need to kill him. The Chaotic Offering is going to go down anyways. Jabs needs to zap someone out. Can they kill DDZ? Yes, they will. Drow Ranger finding the kill. Golem chasing after Lance, but the Phase Boots, he's very, very quick. Not killing him anytime soon.
Yeah, that was a pretty big misplay by DDZ. Jumping in, had the global, but unfortunately unable to get off the chain, allowing the Warlock to go deeper and deeper into the tower range. Got off his ult before he died, and well, that was what really turned it around. I think if they were able to kill him just under the global silence, they get out fine, they don't lose anything as a result. A pretty big commitment of resource. DDZ dies, you drop a global, which is a really long ultimate. And, they only got 1-for-1 trade, so Power Gaming needs to, or at least DDZ needs to improve his play.
Maybe not, because another way you can look at it as well for your power is that without the Chaotic Offering, now you can try for at least one more Infest, where there's a very tiny window where you have a minute to play around that, and at the same time, without the Chaotic Offering, you kind of slow down a bit of Faceless push. That means Faceless are not confident about going forward for objectives.
Yeah, that definitely could be the case, but then Power Gaming has to go for these Infest ganks without the back of a global, so it's kind of, you don't have your best nuke, we don't have our best defense, that kind of stuff. Power Gaming, we'll see if they're going to be going for any kind of plays. So far, looking to just farm up here. Ember Spear will be going for power treads and drums, so the standard early game fighting build, but because he's not farming that well, this fighting build, it feels very, very delayed.
JYC, just going to try and slow this down a bit with Arcane Curse. It's level 3. Also, just now when that 1-for-1 trade, hold on, Remnant in from DDC finds the double shackle onto Nuts and Black, or sorry, not shackle, chains.
There's no follow. That's really the awkward thing for this Power Gaming lineup is they really just have pretty much one way to initiate, which is mostly from the Darkseer. And I guess DDZ could kind of do it as well, but you can see that it's not very reliable or guaranteed. And this is a timing window that you were mentioning where you have global backup just before the Warlock ult comes on, and they're immediately looking to smoke and find a play. They got some deep wards. That's a hard kill on Drow Ranger. They're gonna go in. He's got Aegis. DDZ now goes around, finds XY. Well, you just 5-man gank the support. And now suddenly we're in a little bit of awkward position. They find Nuts as well. Nuts, ultimate cooling down 5 seconds. I don't think it will survive that long to drop it. On the back line, JYC, maybe a little bit of trouble. Ice going hard for this kill. He just runs away the other direction. He'll be fine. Meanwhile, DDZ being silenced. The mech's gonna get popped. Surges him back out. Jabs, ports in. And looks like they got 2 supports for that big movement. Not bad, not bad. But I think they were looking for definitely a core kill, and perhaps even a tower after that, but only getting Venge and Warlock. I guess that's okay.
It's very, very difficult. Like, you almost got the turnaround on the Warlock, but he didn't get to pop the stick charges in time. And pretty good play coming out from Power Gaming to identify that. Even I think Faceless, they actually knew, because I saw the scans, and they knew that Power Gaming were there. They tried to set up for it, but just a bit too slow by a split second. So anyways, yeah, they used that ultimate JYC. And Faceless will just try to transition to say, we still have ults, let's go for the tier 1 bottom.
Yep. And mostly they got the Dragon Lance now on the Drow Ranger as well, so that means could be sieging towers.
Anyone is
He's
still on
fine.
this blink.
Yep. This is a very slow blink on ice. But I think this is more so he's prioritizing more with his team than just AFK farming. Okay. DDC. Crush, that's going to find him here. And now DDC's going to get silenced up. They're going to try to burst him down. Look at the physical damage output. Meanwhile, Rock on the backline here, cutting out a lot of people. JYC's going to run left, trying to save some allies. And Mosin does have a Leicester inside of him. And that's going to transition into yet another tier 1 tower. Black doing the significant tower pushing damage. Well,
Alright, so Faceless using nice ult. Actually, good smoke coming out from XY and Nuts, where they just wrapped and just walked through the enemy jungle, walked all the way to the middle lane, came from behind, and Power Gaming just caught it that pants down. And nicely done. So they win themselves a good fight. Killing DDC is really huge. And you can see like the benefits of just locking down DDC. He's going for these fighting mid-game items, drums coming up pretty soon. And that's just the general game plan for him. Like he's the only reason why they can pick these fights and catching people. So Faceless wasted ages. Yeah, Hurricane Pike should be coming out soon from Black. He does have the Dragon Lance.
that was another big misplay by DDZ. Like, there's no way as Ember that you should get crushed by a Slardar who doesn't even have Blink. He went for a Scythe of Fist dodge, and Ice is recognizing that, says, okay, I'll wait for you to finish your Sleight of Fist, and then I crush you. And then that's really how the fight started. So, DDZ can't really get caught anymore. He didn't have a good laning phase. He's not really farming very well because that he's going for this fighting build instead of the Battle Fury build. So, you know, you were saying that he might continue on, but not if he's getting ganked like this. Global Silence comes out just to protect. In fact, DDZ moving forward. Well, that's yet another big win for Faceless now. Grabbing Global out, essentially losing nothing.
It is. So, alright, we've got a bit of a space. XY, what do you go for this game? I'm still thinking, do you go for Staff or do you try to go for like the Solar Crest or Medallion onto XY? And this is where Faceless, they really need to group up together every time the Warlock ult is up and go for these early objectives. Because Power Gaming, actually with the way DDZ is itemized, they can't stall the game. And Lifestealer needs to fight, which is why he's got the Echo Saber and the Armlet. This is where things I find get a bit troublesome. So a bit of a contrast compared to the previous two games. Power Gaming struggling this time because of the way Faceless have adapted.
Yeah, and more so the Ogre not finding anything, right? I think like 4 or 5 minutes into the game, it looks like Mosin's gonna die here. Look at the... right. Black just kills him in like 2 seconds. I was gonna say that more so due to Mosin, like, he was roaming around 5 minutes in, like level 1, 2, and really unable to do too much.
Ice!
Steals the room, blinks in. Well, might be a little bit of trouble. Now here, Ice a bit too aggressive, but the Rock's gonna come down, saving him. Oh, maybe not. DDZ jumps left, jumps right. Will be now behind enemy lines. He'll be okay. Meanwhile, Black says, look guys, I'm still pushing a tower. And he will get a tier 1. Another tier 1 for free. Woo! Ice coming in here. They find MTR. MTR, he does not have a way to actually get rid of the silence. Will get bursted down by Black. And Black with this Mask of Madness back into the Hurricane Pike. Really paying off.
So Power Gaming getting drought. Oh my god, Black going all the way for JYC.
Man, Ice. Going forward, Lance is going to get second one down here. No rage whatsoever. And that's a picture that you painted. How will they deal with when Black is running in your face? I think their game plan was, dude, we never get into this problem. But the problem is on their front doorstep. And it's not going to stop. It's a draw lineup. Your towers are going down in seconds.
Roshan's going to be up very, very soon. And they can actually even take this tier 2 before they finish off Roshan. And Global Silence will be available then. And maybe that's a tiny window where Power Gaming can try to fight. But DDZ, nope, going to render away Jukes to start. Okay, Magic Missile still connects. So, 2 tier 2s down. The tier 1, there's 3 towers down in less than 2 minutes. Yep. And you can see the power of the Drow strat. And Faceless hitting the timings. This is the timing where they can almost seal the game. But seal the series. But Power Gaming, I wouldn't count them out just yet. But they don't exactly have the best high ground defense.
I'm counting them out. Like, I just don't. Okay, maybe the only way they can come back is MTR getting a Blink Dagger, and you just go for a big wombo combo play. That's the only way I see them coming back in the game, because you're not going to farm your way back in the game. Ember Spirit not having farm items. Life Stealer is not a core that you want to be playing from behind, and he is severely behind now. If the Dire gets the next Aegis, I just don't see them losing this game unless they make some huge mistakes. But this is Dota 2. You know, anything can happen. But it looks like Power Gaming's rotation has been spotted out by a deep Dire ward.
Just gonna put a sentry down, making sure that Power don't go looking for them. But Power Gaming have actually secured their own jungle. Just look at the amount of sentries and wards. Just a pity they couldn't find that one observer ward. But yeah, they will scan out Faceless. They know where Faceless are. And they know that Roshan's up as well. They did spot DDC. Tinker's just keeping the lanes pushed out. And this is just the power of that global presence from a Tinker. And that's why I said this game is going the way of Faceless. I did mention that earlier on from the draft, from the way they can control the Rosh. And just with the nature of Power Gaming's draft, it makes things very, very difficult.
Alright. All of this infesting in DDZ is continuing putting this Lifestealer behind in terms of net worth as well. Not that, you know, Faceless is farming a lot right now, but at least the Drow and the Tinker is farming for something. We do have Hanamitis up on the Warlock. Probably going to be working towards an Aghanim Scepter next, but I think the game is going to be decided much quicker than that. Okay, they're baiting out Tinker. Tinker ports in. They need to grab this kill. No, they don't go for it either. And now we're going to see a secondary smoke from Power.
But this is very obvious. Oh, hold on. Crush.
Okay, now Ice might get caught, but here comes the global. After the rock has been dropped, they do get Ice, and now they're going to try to run them down. The mech's going to come through after a vacuum. MTR kind of in the middle of everything. They want Black, but Black finding his footing behind these trees. He will be fine. The buyback from Ice being critical here as well. They're going to go for Lance. Lance dropping very fast. They don't get XY either, so all they got was one kill on Ice. He buys back, and that's the end of that.
5-for-1 trade, just really good play coming out from Faceless. You can see the power of all the Force Staffs and the Hurricane Pike. You're just hiding them around. And Power Gaming, if you can't get the initial jump, once again, you just go down. And this will be a very easy tier 2 bottom lane. And meanwhile, while that was happening, I think it was just I was saying that the smoke was obvious because you had the middle and top lane were just so pushed in. And at the same time, Power Gaming were put in a very bad situation. You had to decide, do we go to contest Roshan or do we go back to farm? In that case, they made that choice and paid for it. So here we go, Team Faceless looking to seal the deal in Game 3.
Yep. Drow Ranger lineup, still good. First pick Drow. We said that Faceless needed to do a little bit something different because they were losing the early game at least for the first two games. This lineup definitely working out. I gotta say, the game really turned around or accelerated for Faceless as soon as the Blink Dagger was picked up on Ice. Some big plays. And Slaughter is probably one of the best heroes to lead a snowball situation because, you know, you get one kill, you get a tower, and with Sprint, you just chase so well. And you get more and more and more. And that's kind of what happened with Faceless. You can see Ice. He's just waiting. Looking for one, but he doesn't have teammates nearby, so not sure what.
They're grouping up.
Okay. So last fight, MTR did debut that Blink, but still wasn't enough. Japs. Ooh, DDZ missing the chains. I gotta say, DDZ has not been as impressive on the Ember compared to the OD. Definitely a very kind of a silent performance from him.
I think considering the situation, I think he's okay. He's 2-3-3. Like, usually as Ember, maybe you want to try, if the Flame Guard running these squishy supports, but you look at Team Faceless. You don't have any instant nuke to help you in the Ember so that you can at least try for these ganks. And an Infest can only do so much. Especially with how Team Faceless, with the laser from the Tinker, you're always going to be running around staying split up. And Black, you can't just let the Drow Ranger free farm you. Free hit you. So that's really, really scary. And it's just an outdraft from the part of Power Gaming, like why they're losing this.
Well, Black continues to siege through. He still has that Mask of Madness. Has the Aegis as well. MTR looking for an opportunity to get a big vacuum off, but... And DDZ Getting somewhat pinged out here. Wards are being dropped. Looks like this one within range, but Vengeful Spirit somewhat too afraid to go in for the deny, and they don't need to do anything. In fact, it's going to be Radiant that has to initiate. We're going to have the Rock not flying out just yet. Vacuum, wall, but there is no follow-up. The Ember Spirit jumps back in with the Global Silence. Pretty good so far. They don't focus the Drow. In fact, they focus on Nuts. No Rock in this fight. Now they want to surround on the Drow Ranger, but be careful. Ice. He's coming in, looking for the two-man crush. It's going to be Mosin, gets found beyond Godlike. No, just Godlike here for Black. And I do believe the Radiant team is out of gas. They have lost 4 heroes just to the 1 or 2, if you count the Aegis. But Black now turns on his Mask of Madness and let the destruction begin.
And even if the buybacks, they really can't contest this, and they're just too far behind. Like net worth, it's over 15,000 gold lead in favor of Team Faceless. Power's just getting drowned by Faceless, and really unfortunate. I think maybe if DDC committed more remnants to the back line, they could have gotten a cleaner team fight. Good job to try and kill the Warlock before he got his ultimate off, and he still has it. So that's the scariest thing on for Team Faceless right now. They still have the Chaotic Offering if they do want to fight again.
Yeah. Faceless will decide to back now because they got all the racks that they want. So I guess the only game plan now is to transition, but look at these items. Gone for the blink, which again I think it's fine for the game plan, which is to fight. But when you're losing these fights with the fighting item, then maybe it's lights out.
It's really difficult right now. I'm just thinking, you know, how Power Gaming can find a way back into this game. Ember even went for a blink, and that's an item which you want to snowball with, like, or maybe for initiation. And I don't see who he really kills. Even Venge is quite tanky at this point, 1600 HP.
Venge has a Hurricane Pike. What a world we live in.
Rich supports.
Alright, Slardar. We're gonna just cut off some people. But
just look at the net worth, man. I mean, the poorest hero on Faceless has tripled the net worth of the poorest heroes.
yeah, how is Ice the poorest on his team?
And that's because he's been prioritizing initiation, like fighting. He hasn't really been farming, like you said, you know, that greedy slaughter. Even when he wanted to smoke like the original plan to take the Roche early on, he still went top anyways. He's just committing to the fight and going in regardless. So that's just a lot of trust to the team, which is a good game plan. And
this is it's not just for this game. It seems like whenever Ice falls behind, which he has done most of these games, he just keeps fighting. There is no like, okay guys, I'm dying, I need to back off a bit and farm. He almost feels like he goes even harder when he's falling behind. Well, we're gonna have Drow Ranger gonna frontline once again. This time he has a BKB. Mosin? I don't know, man. He's hitting you for 190. And you have the +3 armor under your tower. Does not seem like it's helping.
I think right now, if your power, if you do want to win this one team fight, the minute you see the chance for a wombo combo, go for it. You need to commit every single remnant in the Global Silence. You need like the really good RNG with a huge multicast. You need everything, and even then it may not be enough.
Alright, Ice is in the base. He finds Mosin.
No.
Alright, just maybe forcing some action. Meanwhile, I heard BKB Global popping on the front line here. Black is being gone on, but BKB is being popped, so like you said, they committed pretty much everything. Global, Remnants, and now it's going to be MTR getting 3-shotted on the back line. They're going to try to kill Jabs. Jabs gets swapped back out. He walks in, gets forced that back out. He's fine. The vacuum, though, well cleaning up. Meanwhile, XY, very tanky. Won't even die to the Life Slither. Jab buys back, though, and now he's outside the base, looking to play more with food. And finally, Black finds the racks, and will go for it. And that is another very clean team fight here for Faceless. Lifeslur goes in for more, looking for XY, but multiple Hurricane Pike, they just can't get anything done. DDZ jumping left, jumping right, but it's Black. Looking, oh my god!
Oh my god.
Did you see how much damage they did? DDZ's gonna go down. 700 damage hit with the amplified damage. Yeah, Black putting his team on his shoulder again, but to me this game was the Ice show. A ton of great initiations, a ton of follow-up, and like you said, they got drought.
This is just the power of the draft strat. It just boils down to the draft really for this game. Like we just saw Power Gaming throw all their bodies at. You're just saying, hit me, hit me, hit me. They threw everything, and they couldn't even come close to killing anyone. Okay, they did kill Javits, but that's because of a bit of a misplay on his part, going too deep in. But yeah, Faceless, the new Sea Giants.
Well, not yet, because they are in the winners, or they're in the finals of the Summit 6 C qualifiers, but they can still be dethroned. Coming up next, we got Fnatic versus Execration. Execration, your recent MPGL Season 8 winner. So they have a lot of pride and, you know, a lot of expectation riding up to them to perhaps go back to the finals and challenge Faceless. But they're going to have to go through, first of all, Fnatic. And of course, Fnatic, we're expecting a lot of great things from them as well. That's going to be coming up next in about 10 to 15 minutes. So we'll see you guys then. We'll take a short break, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the cast. Actually, about like a 20-minute break. We'll take a short break. We'll be back. He's Hades. You can follow him at Hades Dota. Of course, you can follow me at Luminous Inverse as well. Hope you guys enjoyed the cast. We'll be back in 20 minutes, and we will see you then. Bye-bye.